Trent Hangen, Jamie Stevens, Dylan Jack, and Tyler Sloan.
Have you ever made your bucket list or are currently working on it? What is on it? Some of the many popular things to put on your bucket list are visiting Holland in full bloom, or even floating in the Dead Sea, and also watching the sunset from high up in Mount Everest. Another extremely popular thing to add to your bucket list are visiting each one of the 7 wonders of the world.
The 7 wonders of the world are viewed by millions every year throughout the world at different points in times. The 7 wonders of the world that are currently now deserve their title because of the millions of people that visit them every year and the extraordinary history that they have. The 7 wonders of the world will be continually visited throughout the world and by millions of people every year.
Today we are going to inform you of the 7 current wonders of the world as found on an article on Wikipedia which was updated January 13th of 2015. Today we're going to start with the ancient pyramids, then we'll move on to the Great Wall of China. After the Great Wall of China, we'll talk about the Roman Colosseum. Once we're done with the Roman Colosseum, we'll transition into the Taj Mahal, then continue on with Machu Picchu. After Machu Picchu, we will talk about Chichen Itza and finish with Christ the Redeemer.
While it may be a long list, we've broken them down one by one in order to look at them separately and by themselves. First, let's talk about the ancient pyramids with Trent.
The ancient pyramids were built during one of the most rich and powerful civilizations in the world. The pyramids, especially the Great Pyramids, were some of the most magnificent man-made structures in the world. Their massive scale reflects the unique roles of each king or pharaoh played in Egyptian society. I believe that you should add this to your bucket list because the technology that was used, there was not very much technology back then, and they could not use this while making the ancient pyramids. The pyramids, such as the Great Pyramid of Khufu, took 20 years and more than 100,000 slaves to build this ancient pyramid. As once stated by a Greek traveler, Herodotus. And this was viewed on December 21st on a history website. Now we'll move on to Dylan as he goes into more recent times with the Great Wall of China.
The Great Wall of China. When most people hear this, they think of, well, a Great Wall. That stretches from one end of China to the other part. In reality though, it is actually an expanse of multiple sections of walls that extend all over the country of China. These multiple sections of walls were built by the different states or countries of China back when they were all at war with each other. The walls were built in order to separate the states and protect them from one another. The amount of time that it took to build a section wall differed greatly though, because the different states all had a different amount of resources available to them. A key factor that determined how long it would take to build a section wall was the amount of manpower available to the states. According to Activity Village, an online schooling resource provider that was accessed on January 7th of 2015, it took around 20 years to build some of these smaller sections of walls, but all the way up to 200 years for the even larger sections. This means that it's hard to estimate the amount of time that it took to build a section of wall because the time differed greatly. Manpower, like I said before, was a key factor that determined how long it took to build a section of wall. Millions of people worked on the Great Wall through the years, and many even lost their lives. Some were buried right inside of the Great Wall itself, just because of the ease of it. Once this warring period was over, however, between the states, one ruler was able to control the area of all the different states, and therefore the different sections of walls. He then ordered the walls to be connected into one great wall. This made the wall that has become to known all around the world. The Great Wall's length, once it was connected, equaled around 31,000 miles, according to Activity Village. Great Wall's length is just one reason why it is a wonder of the world. Another reason is its grand history that has expanded over the timeline of multiple empires and also the generations of people who worked on it. People both lived for and died for this wall. Next, we will be talking about the Roman Colosseum, which is on the other side of the continent.
One of the most famous structures in the world, the Roman Colosseum. Built in 70 AD and then finished 10 years later in 80 AD, the Roman Colosseum is the main attraction of Rome and also one of the main attractions throughout the world. Originally, it was seating built for 50,000 people. Once larger events started happening and more crowds started gathering, they added seating to accompany over 80,000 people. Inside this great building, there was killings, executions, and hangings also went on when slaves got bored or with slaves being treated. Many people don't know the great size of this building, and most people don't realize that it is the size of a professional football stadium. Like the Metrodome and the Roman Colosseum are almost the exact same in size. From RomanHistory.com, updated January 1st, 2014, one of the main attractions that happened was the killing of tigers and slaves on the Roman Colosseum floor. The Roman Colosseum was added to the 7 Wonders of the World in 2007 and has only grown in popularity since that time. During the inaugural games in the amphitheater, over 9,000 animals were killed on the floor, along with another 4,000 slaves and gladiators. Now, many people think that the Gladiator, the movie, is a fiction movie, and they would be right. But there was also many non-fictional events that happened that we will talk about. One of the main scenes in that movie were the tigers coming through the Colosseum floor. They were being taught to kill the slaves for the amusement of the audience. I believe the Roman Colosseum should be one of the 7 wonders of the world for its great history and all the people that visit it each year. There are people from our own town and even teachers in our school that have taken trips to visit the Roman Colosseum. We will now go deep into India and visit the Taj Mahal.
In 1632, the final piece of marble was laid to rest for the Taj Mahal. This amazing monument was built by Indian Emperor Shah Jahan and was built along the Yamuna River in Agra, India. Emperor Shah Jahan built this monument for his 3rd and favorite wife, Mumtaz Mahal, who died while birthing the couple's 14th child. Mumtaz Mahal married Emperor Shah Jahan through an arranged marriage. The Taj Mahal stands out not only for its size, but also for the materials and the workers used to build it. The Taj Mahal took 20 years to build, and according to sawschools.com, which is an online tutoring site, with an article updated July of 2014, there were over 20,000 different workers that worked on the Taj Mahal, and over 1,000 elephants were used to carry materials for that building. Another reason that the Taj Mahal stands out are the many different types of marble used. Found on the Taj Mahal's official website, with an article updated January of 2015, there were many different types of marble used, including marbles from India, China, and Tibet. The marbles are said to change color and shimmer in both the moonlight and the sunlight. Another thing that helps the Taj Mahal to stand out is its 28 different jewels that were inlaid in Mumtaz Mahal's final tomb. These 28 different jewels were ripped away during the Indian Rebellion by the British soldiers. This can be found on Toucan Travel, which is the travel website, in an article updated in January of 2014. While many people feel that the Taj Mahal is the only building on that property, they are incorrect. There are many different structures and architectural things as well on that property. Some of the other buildings include a red sandstone gateway and a red sandstone mosque. There is also a garden, which is divided into 4 different sections by 4 large pools of water. And there is also a large reflecting pool that reflects the Taj Mahal. I feel that the Taj Mahal should remain a 7 wonder of the world because not only is it one of the 7 wonders of the world currently, it took 20,000 different workers to build. And if you put that into comparison, the Empire State Building only took 3,400 workers, and that can be found on About Education, which is an educational website for everyone. And this article was updated in 2015. Another reason that I feel that the Taj Mahal should continue to remain a 7 wonder of the world is because of its large size. The Taj Mahal stands at 561 feet tall, with its large white dome at the middle standing at 115 feet tall. To put that in perspective, the Seattle Space Needle only stands at 500 feet tall. My final reason that I feel that the Taj Mahal should remain a 7 wonder of the world is because it cost 35 million rupees to build. In 1632, that was over 1 million US American dollars. We will now take a trip across the ocean into South America, and Tyler will tell us about one of South America's greatest abandoned cities.
The Great Abandoned City of Machu Picchu. From CentralAmericanHistory.org, viewed December 21st, 2014. Machu Picchu is located in Cuzco, Peru, South America. Machu Picchu had construction started in 1300 AD, but was not finished until 1450 AD. The reason that this great city took 150 years to build is because they did not build it all right away. Early in the civilization, they had few living survivors, so they did not need many buildings. Later on, they built more buildings and more housing for the civilization started to grow, and they gathered more people. Machu Picchu was abandoned in 1572 AD. This was also the time of the Spanish conquest. Many people from the Machu Picchu civilization believed that they could never be conquered. But then the Spanish came over and they conquered them, and the Spanish got rid of the city less than 100 years later. The city is nearly 8,000 feet in the air, but as you look in the mountain is over 10,000 feet from above sea level, so it's not a very good comparison to see how high in the mountains this great city is. From the World Heritage website, updated January 1st, 2014, Machu Picchu was named a World Heritage Site in 1983, and this is another great reason that this is one of our 7 wonders of the world. We will now go into the 3 main buildings of Machu Picchu and tell what they were about. The first building, Intihuatana, was where kids played when they were not allowed to be around their parents, and where kids would go and have social time away from parents and any other grown-up figure. The room of the Temple of the Sun is much like a church to us today. This is where many of their religious views happen, and they went to do other things in the church along with communion, visit other priests, pastors, and again, it's like a church today. The final room is a room of 3 windows. This is much like a lobby or a common area, or maybe even a park today. This is where many of the people of the civilization went to socialize, communicate, and where they hung out during their off hours. I believe that Machu Picchu should be one of the 7 wonders of the world, and also one of the most famous places in our world because of its great history, and also the restoration that is being done to make this city look much like it did in the 13, 14, and 1500s. We will now skip across the continent, move into North America, and explore the great city of Chichen Itza.
Chichen Itza was a large pre-Columbian city located in Mexico, in the state of Yucatan, in a small city of Tinian. This city may have the most diverse population in the Maya world. The most recognizable structure here is the Temple of Cuculcán. The Temple of Cuculcán demonstrated an accurate representation of the Maya astronomy, and also it is also known as El Castello. And this also showed the influence of the Toltecs on the Maya history. The Temple of Cuculcán has 365 steps. It has 4 sides, and each side has 91 steps. There is one giant step around the top, and that makes 365 steps. And each of these represents one day of the year. Also known for Chichen Itza is also known for its great cenotes, or underground lakes. These lakes are created from rivers caving away the limestone, and it creates underground rivers and lakes. Many people say that these underground lakes are very chilly, but after a long hike and long walk around the great city of Chichen Itza, it is really very nice to cool down. Also, something very weird is you never touch the bottom. You can always see the bottom because the light is shining through the cracks, but you never will touch the bottom. Now we will go across the ocean into China, and we will talk about the Great Wall of China with Dylan.
We're going to be talking about the Christ the Redeemer statue in Rio de Janeiro. According to South Schools, a free online tutoring website mentioned earlier, that was accessed on January 3rd of 2015, a priest first proposed the statue all the way back in 1850 as a religious monument, but his proposition went mostly unnoticed until 1920, when a large group petitioned for his suggestion to be constructed. Many ideas and designs were proposed to be used, but all of them were turned down, except for one by a Brazilian engineer by the name of Heitor de Silva Costa. Even after his design was chosen though, it still took many years to plan out the build and design it in order to ensure that there were no mistakes. According to Madsen Araujo, an experienced tour guide and travel book author, it took a total of 9 years to build the statue, only 5 years if the time of building is included. This means that it took 4 years to plan the build and then 5 years to actually build it. The Christ the Redeemer statue is not actually the largest statue of Jesus in the world, contrary to popular belief, but it is probably the most well known because of its induction into the world wonders. On top of its mountain peak, it stands 98 feet tall, and in comparison, the tallest statue of Jesus in the world is 112 feet tall. One of its reasons, so its size is not the reason that it was inducted into the world wonders. One of the main reasons is because of its depiction of religion. The Christ the Redeemer statue stands as a symbol of the Brazilians' faith by acting as an excellent example of Brazilian Christianity.
In conclusion, throughout this speech we have told you about the 7 wonders of the world and why we believe they belong in that category. The 7 wonders of the world that we have told you about are the ancient pyramids, the Great Wall of China, the Roman Colosseum, the Taj Mahal.
Then we told you about Machu Picchu, Chichen Itza, and then finally we ended with Christ the Redeemer.
The 7 wonders of the world deserve the title that they've been given because they have been around for many years, still continue to stand and attract millions of visitors a year.
These 7 things need to be kept and preserved so that the future generations of people can see them and respect them for what they are.